Today, I'll be explaining an anime series titled, The Greatest Demon Lord is Reborn as a Typical Nobody. Spoilers lie ahead. Now, let's jump into it. This is Varvatos, the great sorcerer viewed by his people as the great unearthly demon lord given his unrivaled skills and caliber in sorcery. With all of the enemies capable of beating him gone, Varvatos is tired of being the best, and therefore longs for defeat now that his life reached its peak. People look at him as a superior demonic being even though he's a human, which is something he grew sick of. Longing for someone who can understand him, Varvatos decided to reincarnate as a typical nobody living an ordinary and a humdrum life, hoping that he may be granted a different fate in his next life. Varvatos is reborn as Ard, the only son of a happily married couple, Carla and Jack, living in an ordinary town. In this world, magic and education declined, but that didn't stop Ard from becoming an avid reader at such a young age. Thanks to his great physical stamina, Ard managed to easily hone his martial arts skills as well as his magic. Now that he's good, both financially and physically, Ard wants to befriend someone whom he views as an equal. However, Ard comes off as a creepy and an awkward fellow when trying to socialize with others, as he gives boys and girls his age the creeps and scares them away. By the end of the day, Ard meets Mayor Allhide, an elf and a friend of his parents, in whom Ard confides in about lacking friends. Allhide tells Ard the secret ingredient of making friends is respect and kindness, which Ard later on tries but fails, as he ends up creeping the girls out. Ard later witnesses the young and reserved Irina, Allhide's elf daughter, incinerating an ancient beast to death with her magic. Impressed by her magic, Ard approaches and introduces himself, but, again, he came off as a creep, scaring her away. One night, an army of goblins attack the town. While Jack fights them off, Allhide is worried about Irina, who is stuck in the mountains. In the mountains, a group of elves surround Irina as their leader challenges Irina to a fight. Irina decides against fighting him, boring the leader. Before the goblins can lay their hands on her, Ard shows up just in time to save her, as he effortlessly kills all of the elves. Scared, the goblin leader runs away screaming and Ard finishes him off. Ard then asks to be friends. At first, Irina tries pushing Ard away by telling him how she is lonely and isolated. But Ard understands loneliness better than her, speaking from his experience as an isolated demon lord in a former life. Several years later, the two decide to enroll in the Academy of Magic. At the Academy, the headmaster, Gold, admits the two right on the spot given their well-known magical skills and their popularity after defeating 100 goblins, which is why Gold exempts them from the practical entrance exam. However, Ard and Irina still have to do the paper exam in which Ard scores 0, much to his shock. Gold approaches Ard and congratulates him on passing the exam. Ard starts thinking Gold's ridiculing him, even though Ard scored 0 and all of his answers were incorrect. They're only incorrect within the standards of modern ideology, meaning his answers surpassed what has been hypothesized. In other words, Ard was way overqualified to take the exam, for which Gold hails him as a genius before the whole school. In class, everybody swarms Irina and Ard, proposing to be their friends. In any school or academy, there's always a bully. Here, we have the son of the Duke, Spencer, who enjoys bullying the timid pink-haired Ginny. After Ard and Irina stop him, Lady Olivia walks in. Much to Ard's surprise, Olivia used to be one of his top generals during his time as the Great Demon Lord. Anxious, Ard doesn't want Olivia to find that out. To test Ard's power and skills, Olivia allows a duel between him and Spencer. The duel commences. Spencer unleashes his Mega Flare attack on Ard. Ard blocks it with ease. Spencer tries harder. Again, Ard blocks the flare with ease. Spencer tries even harder. As easy as breathing, Ard blocks it and clears the flare, as he unleashes his Giga Flare that is too powerful for Spencer to block. Spencer is so overwhelmed that he starts apologizing to Ginny while blocking the attack. After Spencer shamefully admits defeat and falls to his knees, Olivia approaches Ard and notes he used 2 spells at once, which Ard nervously admits that he did it to water down the atomic effect of the Giga Flare, in order not to kill Spencer. Given that casting 2 spells at once is a lost skill, Olivia is suspicious of Ard's background. Following that, Irina and Ard befriend Ginny. Later on, Olivia takes her students to the basement and assigns them the mission of killing and skinning a black wolf, an intimidating task to the whole class, except for Ard. Ard and the 2 girls encounter 4 black wolves. While Ginny is palpably horrified, Ard and Irina confidently kill them all. Sensing Ginny's lack of confidence, Ard offers to teach her to fight and defend for herself. As the trio carry on their mission, they all fall to a dungeon where they meet a minotaur. While Irina shields Ginny, Ard stands unshaken before the minotaur as it looms before him. The Minotaur attempts crushing Ard, but Ard blocks the attack with one finger and shatters the Minotaur's weapon before he casts a spell that sends it flying backwards. In order to finish off the Minotaur, Ard encourages the insecure Ginny and has her deliver the final blow, leading to the Minotaur's defeat. Later on, the headmaster reveals his plans of having Ard fight in a duel event before Queen Rosie to get her to fund for the school. Ard rejects participating since magic is a tool to help those in need. Hearing this, Olivia remarks someone she deemed a brother said a similar thing long ago, as she starts suspecting who Ard is. Following that, Ginny approaches Ard and asks for a date, which Ard accepts. Overjoyed, Irina too wants to join the date, to which Ginny suggests that Ard should have a harem of his own. The three go to a theater, where Ard watches an actor playing the great demon lord, Ard's old self, and his girlfriend Lydia. Afterward, Ard passes by an alley where he overhears a group of black-robed men conspiring to kidnap the queen. Ard and the two girls follow them down to the sewers. It turns out to be a trap, as the hooded men were luring Ard underground. The head of the group lights Ard on fire, but Ard is merely scratched by the attack. Ard easily kills off the hooded men and leaves out the leader, who rages, turns to a demon, and flees to the street. After Ard chases him, the demon holds a little girl hostage. The demon is blown when he doesn't find the girl in his grip, which Ard explains that he cast an illusion spell. Not understanding what the hell Ard is, the demon flees but is caught and killed by Ard's flash of Babel. Following that, the town hails Ard a hero. The next day, Ard and the two girls are brought before Queen Rosie, who promotes the three to a higher status, as she also agrees to fund for the academy. Elsewhere, the remainder of the hooded men plan their next move on Ard, revealing they plan to lose to Ard in order to size him up. Later, a girl named Lemming confesses her love to Ard. But Ard doesn't have time to focus on romance. Lemming shows her dark side that covets to have Ard in bed. But a jealous Irina comes and scares her off. Even though he has the necessary funding for his school, Gold still wants Ard to fight at the duel event before the nobles to get promoted to an instructor. As Ginny tries seducing Ard, Irina walks in to apologize for her jealousy, but is shocked at the stimulating sight. Ginny and Irina start bickering about having Ard. Things get hectic when they both agree to duel over him, but this doesn't sit well with Ard, who tells them off and has them cancel the duel. Professor Jessica walks in and informs the three of their involvement in the duel event, which Ard refuses and the two girls accept. As the event starts, the duels are adjudicated by Allhide and by Ard's parents, much to his disappointment. It's Irina's turn now. As her first duel starts, Irina is attacked first with fire, but she easily dodges the attacks and lights her opponent up with lightning, leading to her victory. As Ginny is on her way to her first match, Irina wishes her luck. Ginny and Irina win all of their matches and make it to the final match, where they'll be battling each other. Before the last match commences, the hooded demons show up and attack the place. Professor Jessica instructs Olivia and Ard to split up and fight off the demons. As Irina and Ginny fight, a giant demon forms before them. The two girls try their best, but their attacks weren't enough to take the demon down. Allhide rushes to their aid, forms a tornado, and crushes the demon to little pieces. Jessica stabs Allhide from behind and introduces herself as Elzard, the frenzied Dragon King, who's here to capture Irina. Ginny attacks, but Elzard easily overpowers her with one finger. Irina pleads to not hurt Ginny and to just take her without hurting anybody. Elzard spreads her wings, carries the unconscious Irina, and flies away. Following the attack, Ard heals Allhide's wound and brings him back to life. Irina awakes to find Elzard, who will have the monster called the Orphan of Chaos suck her royal blood that's inherited from the evil gods in order to open another dimension, bring the demons Varvatos slayed back to life, and destroy the world. The Orphan of Chaos is 1 inch away from sucking her blood, but it soon implodes by a spell cast by Ard, who arrives there just in time. Ard then kills the goblins guarding Elzard by casting 9 spells at the same time, as he unties Irina with just a click of his fingers. Elzard tries blasting Ard, but Ard attacks her with a tornado and throws his sword at her, sending her flying. Elzard transforms into a dragon and tries obliterating Ard, but Ard creates a barrier. After Elzard and Ard go head-to-head against each other, Ard transforms into his old Valvados form. Elzard and Ard unleash their ultimate attacks and clash. Ard in the end defeats her, leading to her ultimate death. Following the fight, Ard is back to his ordinary form and takes Irina home. In a dungeon, Sylphie, Lydia's sister, slays a monster. Now that she's gotten strong after spending 3 long years of training in the dungeon, Sylphie looks forward to helping her sister, whom she doesn't know is dead. After getting out, Sylphie runs into a masked man, who formerly served under Varvatos and Lydia, as he also informs Sylphie of her sister's death and of Varvatos' reincarnation as Ard. The school will hold a festival celebrating its 100th anniversary. Demanding the cancellation of this event, a man named Lars Al Ghul sent a threatening letter. Suspecting an impending attack, Gold has Ard patrol the school in addition to performing on stage. Sylphie storms the headmaster's office and confronts Ard on being Varvatos the Dark Demon Lord, as she calls him out on what happened to her late sister. Hearing her wild accusations, Ard plays dumb. Irina defends him, throwing Sylphie off guard by her uncanny resemblance to Lydia. Olivia, however, shows interest in Sylphie's accusations as she allows her to duel with Ard. As the duel starts, the two start exchanging blows. In order not to raise Olivia's suspicions, Ard intends to lose the battle. However, Ard notices her weakness and exploits it. But Sylphie retaliates and aims for Ard's face. Ard breaks her sword, knocks her to the ground and holds the sword to her throat, earning the victory. Incredulous of her defeat, Sylphie rages and attacks Ard with a magical sword, damaging the school. Ard shields himself with a barrier. Before Sylphie attacks again, Olivia stops her, and Irina tells her off, causing her to break into tears. While Ard briefs his classmates about the play that will be put on in the festival, the masked man ominously watches him from outside. As Ard patrols the school during the festival, Sylphie goes mad and holds her sword to a chef's throat, suspecting him of being a demon. Ard and Olivia calm her down and remove her off the patrolling team. Afterward, Olivia reveals her involvement in the tournament, and much to Ard's frustration, she also went behind his back and registered his name as a participant. The tournament commences. Irina easily defeats her opponent. Olivia's opponent immediately surrenders and drops his sword. Ard does well, as he also plans on deliberately losing in the final rounds. Ginny struggles at first, but with Ard's encouragement, she overcomes her opponent and wins. Later on, Ard runs into Spencer, who's apparently gained weight. After noticing how Ginny has changed, Spencer reveals that he knew her as a child, as she was his guardian. Being the son of Duke, Spencer was pressured by his father into acting like a grown-up. Spencer vented all of that frustration on poor Ginny, causing her to have an inferiority complex. Spencer now regrets bullying her, as he thanks Ard for beating him in their last duel. It obliterated the scar of inferiority Spencer left on Ginny and made her change for the better. In the tournament, Ard battles Olivia, who's really interested in knowing what Ard can do. As Olivia holds her sword to Ard's throat, Ard instinctively forms a mega wall that blasts her out of the whole auditorium, which is against the rules, leading to their disqualification from the tournament. Afterward, Irina fights Ginny. The two argue about who will have Ard as their lover. Eventually, Irina wins. Following the match, Irina and Ginny continue to bicker over Ard. Little do they know the masked man sinisterly watches them from atop a nearby tower. Later on, a play is put on, where Ard enacts Varvatos, a glorified version of himself. Interestingly enough, Ard realizes he's reenacting a battle he fought alongside Lydia. When that battle started, Sylphie casts numerous spells, decimating the opposing army, thus leading to victory. Back to the present, the play ends. Sylphie sees her dead sister's ghost leaving. Sylphie tries to catch up but runs into the masked man instead. In her final match, Sylphie will be battling Irina. As soon as the match starts, Sylphie swiftly moves and knocks Irina out, shocking the referee, thus earning her victory and the replica of the Val Glagus sword, that is, Lydia's sword. To Ard and Ginny, Sylphie sounded a bit off. That night, Ard confronts Sylphie on what happened, but the replica turns out to be real, as Sylphie goes frantic, summons her holy sword and attacks Ard with two swords. In a flashback, the masked man tells Sylphie that Barbados killed Lydia before he brainwashed her. Ginny and Irina try stopping her, but they're no match. Ard returns to his Varvatos form. After Sylphie attacks him, the masked man appears and puts Sylphie to sleep. The masked man picks up Sylphie's weapons and attacks Ard. Ard easily severs his arm. The masked man attacks with Sylphie's holy sword, but the spell he's trying to cast backfires on him. Ard then picks the holy sword and delivers the final blow, killing the masked man. Lydia's apparition appears, calls Ard a dumbass and tells her sister Sylphie that her death was never Ard's fault before she fades back into Ard's sword. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for part 2 and more recaps on all your favorite anime shows. You don't want to miss out. Goodbye.